Then this stunning moment. Gypsy standing up on her own.
The big shock to a lot of people was that she was up and walking around.
The young woman who supposedly needed a house with ramps and specialized facilities was not paralyzed at all. And then doctors at the hospital had another surprise for the good people of Springfield.
That's when they learned there was nothing wrong with her.
No leukemia, no asthma, no seizures, no paralysis.
I want to start off with saying things are not always as they appear.
What eventually came out fairly quickly was that it was a scam.
A scam the mother had been pulling off apparently for years as a way to trick sympathetic people and charities out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. The wheelchair is just a prop.
Plot twist. The wheelchair was just a prop, I mean. Welcome to Paroled Women Radio, guys. It is super cold in Florida, so I cannot put the baby bird in the back room. It is too cold, in fact, so you will be hearing him. He's been warming up, getting ready, warming up those vocal cords. This is Paroled Women Radio, and today we're going to talk about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. She's been released from prison, and she's been spotted all over the place, and we're going to talk about it. She's also said quite a few things, and we're going to talk about it. And we're also going to do a little deep dive on her husband to see who he is. I've got so much stuff for you today that I might even have to make this into a two-day live on Gypsy Rose. Let me just make sure that you can hear me before I go on. And then I'll start sharing my screen with you guys. This is Paroled Women Radio, and I'm Amy. Yeah, you can. And I'm Amy. If you could give this live a thumbs up, helps us dance out into the algorithm, bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help my channel out, and it's really appreciated. So, starting on December 31st at noon, going to December or January 1st at noon, I'm going to be doing a 24-hour live stream. I'm deciding on whether it's going to be a 24-hour Watts live stream or if it's going to be just a true crime live stream. Which do you prefer? Let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can work out. Oh, shoot. Hold on a second. I stopped sharing my screen. So let's just get right into it. Watch a little Gypsy. One of the most interesting things that I saw on the Gypsy Rose story, let me share my screen, is that she said she wants to team up with Kim Kardashian. I kid you not. She did say that. What do you think about her wanting to team up with Kim Kardashian? I don't think it's like such a stupid idea, considering she's doing true crime now, prison reform and whatnot. I think what happened was Kim shouted out Gypsy's documentary. I think it was the Dr. Phil one, but I'm not sure which one. And she thanked Kim and said that they should team up for prison reform. So,
did your mom say that you had?
Asthma, epilepsy, hearing impaired, vision impaired, fed with a feeding tube, paralyzed from the waist down.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard is spotted for the first time since her release from...
So this is one of the first photos. I think this is her leaving the prison. And when I look at her, she looks just like her father. Don't you see her father right here? Right. This is her father's face, which she's really a beautiful girl. But then I thought, oh my gosh, she's like in her 30s now? Like her young 20s passed her by. It's so sad.
From prison. So what's next for her? A potential team up with Kim Kardashian.
what's going on.
On Thursday, the 32-year-old was released from prison 8 years after she pleaded guilty to the second-degree murder of her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard. A spokesperson for the Missouri Department of Corrections telling the Associated Press that Gypsy was granted parole after serving 85% of her original sentence.
You've got a house from Habitat for Humanity. You've got donations. You got different things from people.
Who do you think Gypsy Rose is going to grant her first interview to? Do you think it'll be Dr. Phil, Nancy Grace? I did see one of the YouTubers. What's his name? I saved it. I'll show it to you. This guy right here. I don't know who he is. His name is JD Delay.
So much, who even before she was in prison was already imprisoned in her own home. We should leave her alone. Anyone that I've ever heard of deserves to have a life free from being molested by the.
He's basically saying that all his followers were telling him that he should get the Gypsy Rose interview, but he's not going to do that. He doesn't want the Gypsy Rose interview. He wants to leave her alone for a while. But these are my thoughts. He's not going to get the Gypsy Rose interview. I wouldn't get the well, not to say that I'm bigger and better than him, but like people that are going to get the Gypsy Rose interview are people like Dr. Phil, Nancy Grace, those kind of people, Brian Entenmann, those type of people. You don't think you can get it, so that's why you're not going after it. But there's always somebody that you should want to go after. I've always had somebody I like to interview people. In my mind, I've always wanted to interview Nancy Grace. When I was doing horror shows, I always wanted to interview Sherry Moon Zombie. I got close too. I was talking to her agent, but it didn't pan out. But you should always have somebody you want to interview, and don't sell yourself short saying that you don't want to interview her, thinking that that's because you can't interview her. But maybe he thinks he can interview her. I don't know. I just don't think he can get the interview.
Being sick.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a source of income for her, right?
It was, yes. And I had no idea that I was a part of that.
That's Gypsy out and about in Missouri on Thursday with her husband, Ryan Scott Anderson. Dee Dee's 2015 murder came after she inflicted years of abuse on Gypsy due to...
I guess she's looking a lot like her mom, too. Look at it. She's definitely got her mom's nose.
Munchausen by proxy, a rare disorder in which a guardian exaggerates or induces illness in a child for attention and sympathy. Something Gypsy herself talked about in the HBO.
Nobody uses the new term for it. I can't remember what it is, but nobody uses it. They switched when the DID switched. Everyone started using DID, but nobody's using. What is the new word? Munch. Because when I was in college, it was Munchausen. It's fictitious disorder imposed on another. So that's the new word for it, but I've noticed that nobody uses the new word for it.
HBO docuseries Mommy, Dead, and Dearest, and in a 2019 interview with Dr. Phil.
Why did she tell?
Premiered January 5th.
Also,
that she's out of prison, Gypsy plans.
Gypsy has a new docuseries coming out in January that we will for sure be watching.
To tell her story in an upcoming Lifetime docuseries, The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, which will premiere January.
So I suppose whoever's interviewing her and that will be the person who first got to interview her. But she's not out yet, so it's not technically the first interview upon release.
5th.
My mother claimed that I was sick.
Gypsy Blanchard is the only victim of Munchausen syndrome by proxy who has killed their mother.
After Kim Kardashian included Gypsy's 2017 documentary, Mommy, Dead, and Dearest, in a list of true crime shows to watch next, Gypsy thanked Kim, who is pursuing her law degree, for the shout-out, adding, quote, "Maybe we should unite forces together to make real change within the justice system."
I think this new world of...
How are you guys feeling about Gypsy Rose working with Kim Kardashian? I keep saying Kardashian like that, Kardashian, that one beauty influencer. I can't think of her name, but she says Kardashian. I keep saying it that way. So this is Gypsy Rose officially released from prison. This was the first news story I watched on it. This is news. This is E-News.
Blanchard has been released from
E-News and People magazine. They're reporting heavily on it.
Prison. The 32-year-old previously pled guilty to the second-degree murder of her mother, Claudine Dee Blanchard. Gypsy and her former boyfriend were later sentenced to prison for their roles in her 2015 murder. Gypsy's story was previously covered in the 2017 documentary, Mommy, Dead and Dearest.
This is actually kind of the first time I've been honest. Besides being honest, with my attorneys.
How would you describe your mom?
I think we need to keep in mind that I think we were talking about this on one of my other lives, that Gypsy has been institutionalized now. She is street. She's probably more. She knows her way around crime. We'll just say that. So, do you believe how do we believe Gypsy? What do we know? How do we believe her? How do we know when she's telling the truth and when she's not telling the truth? Because she's no saint. I mean, she did participate in murdering her husband or her mother. So how are we ever going to know when she's telling the truth and when she isn't? What do you guys think? How are we ever going to know?
I mean, I used to always think that maybe she's a little overprotective. So if I had to say one word about her, it would be overprotective.
Gypsy grew up in essentially an alternate reality to what the rest of us live. By her mother isolating her from the outside world.
Release, Lifetime is set to debut its docuseries, The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, in which the 32-year-old will go into detail about the years she spent in the care of her mother.
After a lifetime of silence, I finally get to use my voice to share my story and to speak my truth. As a survivor of relentless child abuse, this docuseries chronicles my quest to expose the hidden parts of my life that have never been revealed until now.
My mother claimed that I was sick. She trained me to the bed. She said, "We'll never be happy." He was holding the medications, hospitals, surgeries. There was no end in sight. Sharp scream. I will finally share my story the way that it should be shared.
Lifetime says in a statement to E! News that its 6-hour project features unprecedented access to Gypsy, who Lifetime describes as a, quote, victim of Munchausen syndrome by proxy, who suffered horrific abuse and made national headlines for her role in her mother's violent murder. Following her prison release, Gypsy is hoping to connect with and help others going through similar situations. Her book, Released: Conversations on the Eve of Freedom, is out January 9th, and she's joined both Instagram and TikTok, with her bio on IG saying she's a public figure, public speaker, and author, advocating awareness.
We have both of those. I have both of the TikTok, the Instagram, and the X up that we're going to look through. So let's keep going. This is the first video that I saw of her being out and about. She apparently needed some shoes. This is Parawoman Radio, and I'm Amy. If you could give this live a thumbs up, helps us dance out into the algorithm, bring more people back to our party. It's a free way to help us out, and we're streaming to not Instagram. I want to stream to Instagram, but I'm still having problems. We're streaming over on X, Facebook, and YouTube today. Hi, guys.
She's just out of prison and going shopping. It's the first video of Gypsy Rose Blanchard with her husband after she was released from prison in the pre-dawn hours today.
Do you have any plans?
Lots of.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard was a victim of Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a condition in which a parent fakes or exaggerates a child's illness to get attention. In Gypsy Rose's, when she was released from a prison in Missouri at 3:20 a.m. A few hours later,
she was released at 3:20 a.m. and I have heard that she is going to be going back to Louisiana to live with her husband, who I have some information up on him.
Came the couple's hand-in-hand trip to the shoe store. The Gypsy Rose Blanchard case has been featured several times on TV. Actress Patricia Arquette played the mom in a 2019 Hulu limited series.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest one of all?
This case feels like it's older than it really is. It's only like literally not even 10 years. Well, it happened in 2015, so it's not even 10 years old. And I also wonder too, Gypsy was talking about prison reform with Kim Kardashian. Is she going to try to help her co-defendant and get him out of that life sentence that he's under? I just wonder about that.
You are.
No, you are.
And Lifetime has an upcoming 3-part documentary called The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
The first time I tried.
She looks nice and tan in that one mugshot, doesn't she? She must have been spending a lot of time outside.
To run away. She chained me to the bed.
Now a new life of freedom awaits this headline-making young woman.
This is quite sensory overload for her. Her world has been beige, and now it's in color.
Oh, that's kind of sweet. Her world was beige and now it's in color. Okay, let's move on to this one. Let's read a little bit about who Gypsy Rose's husband is. We're doing a deep dive on Gypsy Rose. She was released from prison yesterday. She's going to be moving to Louisiana with her husband, and that's where her father and stepmother live as well. I think all of her family lives there now. Who is Gypsy Rose Blanchard's husband? All about Ryan Scott Anderson. That's a good name, Ryan Scott Anderson. Is that a director's name, or is it Ryan Scott Ridley? I don't, but that's a good name, Ryan Scott Anderson. Is her name Gypsy Rose Anderson now, I wonder? Gypsy Rose Blanchard married her husband, Ryan Scott Anderson, while she was still in prison for the murder of her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard. The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose. Oh, that's another thing. There's a book coming out in January as well. The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard's subject was sentenced to 10 years in prison in 2016 for killing her mother, who made her undergo years of intense medical treatments that she never needed. Blanchard was a victim of munchausen by proxy, a form of abuse in which a guardian may seek attention or sympathy by making their child ill or exaggerating their illness. Blanchard and her then-boyfriend Nicholas Godejohn conspired together to kill Dee Dee in June 2015, and Blanchard later pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, while Godejohn was convicted of first-degree murder. After 8 years of serving her sentence, Blanchard was released on December 28, 2023. While in prison, Blanchard met and married Anderson, who was a teacher in Louisiana. We're in love, she told people ahead of her early release in December 2023, adding that she wants to start a family with Anderson. See, I thought she would want to start a family. And is ready to go to a loving home. Gypsy is ready to live. She's ready to talk and she's ready to live. Gypsy has that bubbly kind of personality that everybody loves to be around, and that, like, on that rare occasion when she gets mad, everybody's shocked that she's mad or upset because, like, she's always this bubbly person. That's who she strikes me as. She's one of those people that you would wish would shut up sometimes, but just won't. She's that kind of person. I know the home that I'm going home is with my husband, and I'm going to have a really supportive family dynamic, she told people. And I think that that's what I've been missing this whole time. Here's everything to know about Ryan Scott Anderson and his relationship with Gypsy. I wonder too if their marriage will last, because it's got to be a stress on a marriage to be married while somebody's in prison, hasn't really ever had a normal life, and wanting to come out and be a normal person. And she's just never going to be a normal person, I don't think. He's from Louisiana, per Blanchard and Anderson's marriage license. Anderson is from Lake Charles, Louisiana, where he works as a middle school he's a special education teacher. Oh. Following her time in prison, Blanchard planned to move to Louisiana, and Anderson joked that was one of the first reasons she decided to speak to him initially. She's like, That was probably the main reason, is you were from Louisiana and I wanted to make friends with people from Louisiana, he told people. So I credit that as being the most important thing, is that I just come from Louisiana. They began communicating after Anderson sent her a letter. Anderson and Blanchard first connected in 2020. Oh, they haven't known each other very long, have they? When the COVID-19 pandemic started, Anderson was working at a hospital at the time, and his clientele dropped from around 300 to 12 patients, he said. The Netflix show Tiger King was popular then, and his coworker told him she wanted to write a letter to the Tiger King subject, Joseph Joe Exotic. He told her that if she wrote him, he would write Blanchard. I said, I'll tell you what, if you write him, I'll write Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And I had watched her documentary, Mommy, Dad, and Dearest, like 3 years before that, he said. Ooh, so he's a fan. And then the act had come out, and I'd never watched the act, but I remember my friends talking about the act, and I was like, I'll watch the documentary again. So it was kind of fresh on my mind. So did he watch the act, or did he just rewatch the documentary? After he sent it, he didn't expect to hear back, but within a few weeks, in May 2020, he had begun a back and forth email exchange with Blanchard, who he said was drawn to how personal he was and the sacrifices he had made for his family, including help his mother raise his nephew. My God, is this guy a saint? He sounds really good for her. Due to COVID-19 reaction, Blanchard and Anderson couldn't meet until July 2021. However, Blanchard has called him her emotional backboard, crediting him for helping keep her calm. We met in 2020 when the pandemic was really, really strong, and I had a lot of emotional ups and downs because of COVID, she told People. Unfortunately, it put the prison in a position to where it restricted our freedom even more. So Ryan has seen me through some really good times, some really hard times. She added, I could say that he probably is the most compassionate soul that I've ever met, and the most patient. God knows he's so patient with me, because I could be a little bit of a handful. Because I could be a little bit of a lot of a handful. I could be a handful, an emotional handful. Makes me sad that she's saying that. Women are told that we're handfuls when we're emotional, instead of just acknowledging our feelings. Anyway, she added that though a lot of their relationship was long distance and over the phone, Anderson became so in tune with her emotions, he could tell how she was feeling as soon as she picked up. We've been able to build this emotional bond that within 2 seconds of talking on the phone, he knows my emotions. Hold on. She said that he'll be like, are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? So I'm thankful that I have a man that is open enough with my emotions so I could let my emotions flow. They got married while Blanchard was in prison. While not much is known about how they met, Blanchard did previously have correspondence with men outside the prison's walls through a pen pal program. She was previously engaged to a man named Ken in 2019, though they eventually split. Anderson and Blanchard obtained a marriage license in Chillicothe, Missouri on June 27, 2022, while she was still serving time, per the Springfield News Leader. A month later, on July 2nd, 2022, the two tied the knot in a small prison ceremony with no guests. We do plan on having a reception, redo wedding with all of our family and our friends and the press. Oh, and the dress and the cake and everything. I bet you there will be press. Everything. She strikes me as someone who wants to be in the press. She just does. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I mean, she needs to make a living somehow. And with our family and our friends and the dress and the cake and everything, because we deserve that. I deserve that. He deserves that, she told People in 2023. Our prison wedding was just something to where we can make our vows to each other. It was probably so that she could move in with him when she left, too. it was something that meant something to us. And I think the party is kind of for everybody else, but mostly for everybody else. Nah, Gypsy, come on now. You want a party. They want to grow their family. Ahead of her family prison release, Blanchard told people she has goals of starting a family and having kids. Since Blanchard had a fraught relationship with her own mother and never lived with her father and stepmother, she said people have questioned what kind of mother she'll be, which has hurt her feelings. Well, I think they've questioned it too because she had a really sick mother. Whenever someone says, do you think that because of what you went through, you're going to do that to your kids? I would think the opposite, but okay. And I said, you know what? Absolutely not. I have learned what not to do, she said. Amen to that, Gypsy. Blanchard pointed to Anderson's mother and her own stepmother as examples of people who are strong maternal figures and whom she plans to model her parenting after. I get the feeling that she really has a connection with her stepmother. I have other mother figures that are around in my life, friends that are mothers, she said, so I have a lot of good people around me to pull advice from when that time comes. I don't think that there's going to be a manual that says you want Mom of the Year, but I definitely have no concerns about I think my parenting when it comes to that time. Did they like quote her word for word? I mean, couldn't you put it like so that it flowed? If you suspect child abuse, call the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4-A-CHILD. And as always, I will put the link to what I read in our description. Moving right along, this one I wanted to just look at because it says Gypsy Rose Blanchard set to be freed from prison, regrets murdering mother. She didn't deserve that. So Gypsy in no way condones what she's done. Just wanted to see if anywhere she says what she's going to do in regards to Nicholas. No, it doesn't look like there's anything in there. But moving along, I thought this was interesting. Doing my research, I did see that the post that Gypsy put up on Facebook, the bitch is dead, that's still up there. Do you guys remember? This was heavily promoted on the Act. I did want to look at the page. Dee Dee Blanchard. Oh, so this was Dee Dee's page. Gyp Blanchard. So this was they had a mutual page, right? Or that was supposed to be the only page she had. So there's not really much on that page. But moving along, I did find her Instagram page. So this is Gypsy Rose on Instagram. This must be
to know tonight. Take a look at the big board, folks. Oh my goodness, Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Her book's coming out, will be released in January of 2024, yet she's not going to be released on parole until December 28th. So she gets out of prison early on parole, and then we'll have a book telling her whole story, a conversation.
Not only a book, but then there's that docuseries coming out.
On the eve of freedom.
It's going to be a whole January of Gypsy Rose, my friends. And I'm going to do plan something with Gypsy Rose and Eugenia Cooney. Try to have a roundtable conversation about it.
Wow. The Gypsy Rose Blanchard story continues. Time to reveal.
What else we got? Here's the book. I will for sure do a book club on it. We're working on the Watts book club. Just have so much that I want to do. Throw me to the wolves and I'll come back leading the pack. Believing in yourself is the first step toward wielding the power of confidence. Real influence must be earned. I hope you know that, Gypsy. I hope she doesn't realize that she's just popular because her case is popular and that she needs to truly be a good person. Meet Amelia Bird. Her story is similar to mine and was featured on the podcast Wrongful Conviction with Maggie Freeling. Amelia was 16 when her then boyfriend murdered her mother. She was tricked into accepting a plea deal by prosecutors. And I remember this. Amelia Bird. I remember this. She was tricked into accepting a plea deal by prosecutors and giving a life sentence with no other evidence against her other than her ex-boyfriend's testimony. She continues to maintain her innocence and fight for her freedom. She is held in Chillicothe Correctional Center in Missouri. If you would like to write her, you can email her using Syracuse Technology website or app. P.S. She loves dogs. So if you guys want to write one of Gypsy's friends, there you go. What else do we have here? Oh, this is the Kim Kardashian one. Ooh, I'm a Kardashian. Thanks, Kim Kardashian, for the shout out within this list to my 2017 documentary, HBO's Mommy Dead. Did Dr. Phil do the Mommy Dead and Dearest? Maybe we should unite forces together to make real change within the justice system. Disclaimer, this screenshot was taken a few years ago of Kim Kardashian's. I slip into the Kim Kardashian. I can't help it. You try saying it without doing it. Is this her ring? My husband gave me this beautiful ring on our first wedding anniversary. As dazzling it is, this ring also bears special significance as it was passed down to him by his mother for his future bride. I am truly honored to be the one. Is it rose gold or just really yellow gold? What are our thoughts on this ring? It looks very 20s, 30s deco style to me. Not mad at it, not in love with it either. Okay, so that is her Instagram account. I followed it. It's interesting that she has herself as a public figure, public speaker, author, advocating awareness about Munchausen syndrome by proxy. She doesn't even use the new word. Let's see what we got here. Her links are... Ooh, let's watch the Lifetime trailer, shall we? Or we probably already watched it. This is so disturbing. Her pictures are disturbing to me. Are they not disturbing to you, like her old pictures? Ugh. It's easy to talk about it and get in the swing of things and not even really let it hit your emotions. But when you think about it, I mean, she's probably 19 years old here, 18. It's just really sad.
And now, a sneak peek of the prison confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Everything that I have done within this facility was to get paroled.
A Lifetime 3-night documentary event.
They're calling my name. Gypsy, help me.
As far as we know, Gypsy Blanchard is the only documented case of a victim of Munchausen syndrome by proxy who has killed their perpetrator to get out.
I will mention the abuse that I suffered at the hands of my mother.
What Dee Dee did to Gypsy was one of the most egregious forms of...
I heard Gypsy say something like she would never do what she did to her mom again, that in fact what should have happened was her mom belonged where she was. So, I mean, she does get that.
of parental abuse.
I mean, look at that. She probably had some kind of surgery, unneeded surgery there on her leg.
You can imagine.
There was a lot of emotional and physical abuse, hospitals, surgeries. I started to feel like it was either her or me.
Kill or
I
be
will
killed.
share my story the way that it should be shared.
The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard premieres Friday, January 5th at 8, only on Lifetime. And now, a sneak peek of
She's just a short little thing, isn't she? We're like cruising through this. I think I'm going to get through it all in one setting. All right, so moving along, I found Gypsy on TikTok. Make sure you see what I'm seeing. Oh, hey, by the way, we're over on Instagram and on TikTok. Let me share. This is us over on Instagram. We're at 1,700. I'm trying to start streaming to Instagram, but I still am having a few problems with the streaming software. So that's us over on Instagram. So why don't you click that little, is it follow? What's over on Instagram? What are we doing? Are we subscribing? Are we following? We're following. Follow me over on Instagram. And I'm also trying to figure out this new thing. This new Threads. Is anyone over on Threads on Instagram? I'm starting to try to figure that out. Okay, so popping over here to TikTok. We're over on TikTok as well. We saw that one. What's this one?
Never take advice from.
No music. So that's the book. What else? Looks like this is more of the book. Oh, June Buggy. This is our page over on TikTok. Boy, TikTok has been the hardest place for us to grow. I feel like we've been at 500 followers for a really long time, but I usually throw up just everything over on TikTok. TikTok gets hit with everything, with the true crime, the paranormal, the bird, the dog, the Watts, just everything. So if you're interested in joining us over there, please do that. And then we're over here. She's over here on X. Make sure you can see what she got going over here. She needs a background here. Gypsy Rose Blanchard. So she's not going to change her name to Anderson, because now would be the time to do it, because nobody's really, well, I mean, now would be the time to do it, Gypsy, because I feel like people are going to like get Blanchard burned in their head and they won't want to take it out. But maybe she doesn't want to change her name. I didn't change my name when I got married. So in case she missed the big news, I have a special ebook coming. Oh, it's an ebook out on 1/9, and it's now available for pre-order. It was created with writers Melissa Moore and Michael. You can read that. And it would mean the world to me if you pre-ordered a copy. More book. Looks like she's doing what she's throwing up everything that she throws over on Instagram over here. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Make sure you can see what I'm saying. Okay. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Home for the Holidays takes on a whole new level of meaning for me this year. 52 days until this beautiful digital art piece becomes a reality. From my family to yours, happy holidays. Best which was, oh wait, Gypsy Rose and Ryan Anderson. So I don't know. I can't. There's Gyps. They even have her shorter than everyone else. Like she is shorter than everyone else. Does anyone know who Roy and Gary is? I know this is Christy and Rod are her parents. Work hard in silence. Let your success be your noise. Amen to that, Gypsy. And don't say bad things about people. Just, they can speak for themselves. You don't have to say a word, because their actions will eventually speak for themselves. And I'm not saying that because anyone's saying anything bad about me. That's my motto. Today is World Mental Health Day. Follow me on Instagram at Gypsy Rose, TikTok, and Twitter X. She doesn't mention Facebook, so she must not be using the Facebook. The Facebooks. What else do I have? Can't believe how fast I got through all this. I blazed through it. I thought we could, what are we doing here? We're at 40 minutes. I think I'm going to stop it. I have some other Gypsy Rose stuff, but I'll put that on for another day. I wanted to watch the Gypsy Rose Blanchard's infamous revenge against Mama on the killer cases, this one. I thought we would watch that one next. When I get my Patreon ready, we can watch like the act and a few things over there. I think. I don't know. I have to see what I can do on Patreon behind a wall. I don't know what's allowed and what isn't allowed anymore. So I have to look into it. But that's what I have today for Gypsy Rose. What are you guys thinking? How are you feeling about Gypsy Rose? I'm trying to measure the temperature on my subscribers on if you're a Gypsy Rose fan or not a fan. I think I saw somebody say the other day, like, this is an unpopular opinion, but I don't think Gypsy Rose should be out or something like that. Do you feel like she should be released? I feel like if they're going to release Gypsy Rose, you got to release Nicholas Godejohn someday, or give him the opportunity to someday be released. Have the opportunity to someday be released. But our world is just not fair like that, is it? We don't get for tit for tat. You get what you get. So tell me what you think about the live. Do you think I should do a Watts live, 24 hours Watts live stream? Or should I do like a 24-hour just true crime live stream? And if you, well, I'm doing this live stream. So if you want to come on and join me for part of the live stream and talk about the Watts case, or you have Watts video that you would like me to air during that 24 hours, you can email me at amyfrankWilliamson@gmail.com and we can talk about it. I'm trying to get to 2K on YouTube. We're so close. We're at, let me see where we're at. We're at 1,912 subscribers over on YouTube. Do you think I can get to 2,000 by January 1st? Can you help me reach that goal, get to 2,000 subscribers by January 1st? November was one of our biggest months. I haven't gotten any stats yet for December, but November we had 260 subscribers. We reached 400K views. It was just a really good month, and I have a suspicion that December is going to be even better, because so far I think it has been even better. But could you help me? Could you help a girl out and get to 2K on YouTube? Just hit that like button, subscribe button, and then the bell button. 3 buttons. 3 buttons to freedom. No, 3 buttons to happiness. 3 buttons to my channel. It's just a free way to help me out, and it's really appreciated. So that's it for today, you guys. I'm going to wrap it up, stop babbling on, and put this one in the can. If nobody's told you today this, I'm telling you this. I love you, and I appreciate you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.